Welcome everybody to another update on odd alerts. This is quick filtering. It's an update to quick filtering. If you're not familiar with filters and how to use this tool that I'm using right now, please check out the other video on YouTube. It's called Understanding Odd Alerts, and it's also titled Finding Games with Quick Filters or something along those lines. It's one of the most recent videos below this one, depending on when you're viewing this one. Anyway, you can now use the last X amount of games, so that could be last 5, last 6 and last 10, and you can add this to your existing rule, and it becomes powerful when you match it with overall settings as well. So just as an example, I think it's best to just show you rather than try and explain it by talking. We'll set a rule that says both teams have played 10 games, and we'll save that, and we'll go back to the stat I was on, which is scored over 0.5 goals. So this is the percentage, the occurrence, how much, what is the percentage that this has happened out of all the games this season. So we can look at the form, which was there before. It's overall home or away. But what this final form item at the bottom allows you to do now is toggle between the last 5 games, the last 6 and the last 10. So we can now look at the last 10 games. This is for the home team, but we'll set it for both teams in this case. And we can say, let's say 70%, so 7 out of 10 games. And we'll save that for both teams. So when we search now, we know that both teams have played at least 10 games. And we know that they've actually scored in the last 7 of the last 10 games. And if you wanted to make that 100% for the last 5, you can do that. You can add that in with that setting. And let's say we're looking at BTTS, for example. We're looking at games and we want to create a short list for both teams to score. Straight away, that is a pretty solid start, isn't it? Because you know that both teams are in good goal-scoring form. And that's what the last X now allows you to add to your existing quick filters, is form on top of the overall stats. And as I say, it can be quite powerful because you could, I mean, I've just used goals scored, but you could be using points per game, you could be using win percentage, loss percentage. There's hundreds of combinations you could use. So let's just take the first game, playing at 7:30 in China, and we'll just quickly look at the most recent game. So you can see here that they're not in great form, but they are scoring goals. So they've scored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the last 10 games. And I imagine it'll be the same for the away team, which it is. You know, and they're not, both teams aren't really winning much, are they? But they're scoring goals. So could be goals in this one. You can see that the odds here for BTTS is over evens, which isn't too bad actually, given that both teams are scoring and conceding goals. And you can just keep going through this, and as with quick filters, what I like to do is check out a few games, and you might notice one of the teams is stronger than the other, or you might notice a certain stat that needs adjusting, and you can do that. So one thing I'm going to add in as well is when I'm looking at BTTS, I tend to favour away teams, just ever so slightly. If I'm weighing up the stats, I'll put a little bit more emphasis on away teams that can score or that are doing okay. So with this new form selector, we can now look at teams that have, let's go with the loss percentage, because we want to just make sure they're not terrible away from home at the minute. In the last 5 games, let's put that down to 20%. So we now know that the away teams are pretty good at the moment in the last 5 games away from home. So that takes away the Chinese game, of course, because the away team was pretty terrible, weren't they? They haven't won many games. Both of those teams hadn't won many games. So now we're left, and you can see by the league positions, we've got second, first, second, third, first, second, fifth. And it's these kind of games, you know, second against fifth, where you know the away team is decent because, well, they've only lost one. What was it? One in the last 5, did we say? So then you can just go into that and just keep looking and keep refining. Yeah, so now you might want to add draw percentage as well, but it doesn't matter for this team, because whilst this filter is showing us the correct game, I mean, they've only won 1 of those games, but you can see they've lost 1 away game all season, so they can score on the road. This is actually looking pretty good. Of course, the team that they're playing is top. Are they not? Where was that game? No, they're second. So it's second against 5th, but you can see that the home team here is probably favourite without looking at the odds, but they have conceded in the last 3 home games. That stands out for me. And if we look at the odds here, yeah, 1.62 for the win. Both teams to score 2.10. I am going to add that live as my bet of the day. Bit of an impulse decision. And if you don't know how to add a bet of the day, that is how you do it. It's in the same place you would add an alert on the odds. You just do it through there. And if you're in the Discord, you'll see a feed of all the bet of the days being added. So that is the last X, the ability to add recent form into the mix, as well as overall points per game, overall stats, sorry, and overall rules. So I'll just add one in here. So we can add an overall stat for the away team to say that they have picked up 1.4 points per game, all games, whilst playing away from home. So this just cements the idea that the away team is capable on the away when playing away from home. You know, they've got 1.4 points per game, which is, you know, probably above average for the majority of teams in each division. And you can see now we've got 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 5th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 6th. So now I've narrowed down even more, and I have a decent shortlist for today and for the future as well. I mean, with quick filters, you might not know this, is a little bit of a tip. If you click on the calendar, you'll be able to click the next 5 days, and you'll be able to get better odds before they've been squeezed down by everybody jumping on. And the games will still be ordered by whatever it is you are ordering by, which is kickoff time by default. So let's actually order by points per game for the away team. So we're going to see really good away teams at the top, and you can sort that, and you'll see that the first game is on Thursday. Then we've got a game today, Thursday, Saturday, today, Thursday. And this is a good way to just manage your betting, really, and just create a bit of a short list, and you can save games to favourites just so you don't forget about them. But you can also go in and check the stats and see if the odds are available, and if they're not, you can set an alert and you'll be notified when and if that becomes available. With BTTS, it's usually in play if it's not available before the game. The sort of PDL and under 23s in England especially, BTTS will become available after about 15-20 minutes if the score's 0-0. So that is an extension to the quick filters video, because this launched recently, this new edition, and yeah, I've seen a lot of good feedback about it so far, and keep it coming. If you've got any suggestions, also keep it coming. I plan to build more into the quick filters model, if you will, this and I plan to sort of extend and improve on the filter tracking from here. Probably next year that'll be, but I've got it's a big plan that I want to do, and sort of merge everything together into one filters page where you can just find fixtures and shortlist them and stuff. And yeah, I imagine a place where you won't need to sort of leave that screen, where you can do everything and even track the quick filter results as well as you sort of tinker with them. So yeah, that's interesting. Plenty of stuff planned, and yeah, thanks again for the feedback, and keep it coming. This was fun to launch. It's been something that's been on the radar and on the to-do list, on that to-do list for a while now. I was able to move it to the other column, which is the done stuff. So, yep, as always, enjoy, and I look forward to your feedback.